Hello again. It is Wing Nation presented by Sage Fruit. Talking sprint car racing, our favorite time of the week, and we are so glad that you have joined us. Steve Post in our Concord, North Carolina studios, from the Lethal Chassis Studios in Mifflintown, Pennsylvania. Ashley Stremme, my co-host. Hello, Ashley. How are you?
Hey, Steve, I am wishing I was in Ohio this past week. Wow, what an incredible weekend, Steve.
Eldora, we're going to talk to the $1 million winner, Logan Schuchart, but King Donnie the 40th on Saturday night, Ashley. Really, really cool to see Donnie Schatz get another big win out at Eldora.
It sure was. And if you get to see the video, I think World of Outlaws tweeted it out. There's a clip of him being mic'd up after the race. And you can see before he climbs out of his car, I don't care what anybody says, there are tears welling in his eyes. They may not have rolled down his face, but you can tell it was an emotional win for Donnie.
Yes, indeed it was. He led all 40 laps. It was his sixth time he won the King's Royal. That puts him one behind some guy by the name of Steve Kinser, and his third win of this World of Outlaw season. We all know, Ashley, it's been a bit of a struggle, but we saw a little bit of this when the Outlaws were there in May. I don't think it's a really big shock that Donnie Schatz has won a big race at Eldora.
Absolutely not. I mean, he knows the place like the back of his hand, and he's always been confident there. And I think even in the interview, he said that even he had to cowboy up a little bit for that racetrack Saturday night.
Boy, he did. They did. And Donnie Schatz is King Donnie the 40th. Okay? Prior to that, it was Millionaire Logan the First. Yes, Logan Schuchart, $1 million Thursday night at Eldora. And when we come back, we're going to open the Sage Fruit Hotline. Logan Schuchart, he joins us next. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit Apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Let's get right to the Sage Fruit Hotline. Driver that last week picked up $1 million out at Eldora, Logan Schuchart. Shark Racing joins us. Hello, Logan. How are you?
It's great to be talking to you all. I mean, something good happened. Something did happen. So.
Something good, just a little bit good, that's for sure. We're 5 or 6 days. We record this on Monday, so we're 5 or 6 days out after that. Has it sunk in? What's the reaction been like to your $1 million win last Thursday night?
So we had to race the next day, and we had a pretty big one on Saturday that we were going after. So we had to get right back to work. Didn't have a whole lot of time to celebrate, even though we still did a little bit. But I think the biggest time it sunk in was driving home yesterday on Sunday. People cheering. We had PA fans driving home. Hanging out the windows, fist pumping, clapping, beeping the horns. And I know the race rig did too, because I asked them last night when we got back, and I said, hey, do you guys have anybody cheering at you and stuff? They said, oh my God, the whole way home, everybody was doing it. So that's pretty cool. And I went for a run this morning, and, like I do all winter long, and nobody ever stops, but I had 2 different people stop. Get out of their trucks. Hey, can we take a photo with you? You're that guy that won $1 million, aren't you? So definitely a surreal feeling. Pretty awesome. But Hanover's definitely proud.
I think there's a whole lot of Pennsylvania proud, not just Hanover there, Logan. But you talk about that, people talk about if I win $1 million in the lottery, they're not going to go to work on Monday. You still had to go to work the next day. So that kind of stinks. But let's get right into the thick of it with the race. There's 2 things that I have to know that were going through your head at 2 given points in this race. And one was during the red when that car fell on the right rear with no tire. What was going through your head? And on lap 49 and a quarter, when you bounced that thing off the wall, like you gave me a heart attack in both of those instances.
I gave myself a heart attack a little bit, but no, the red during the red there, when everybody did an awesome job. So Brennan, Lonnie worked their butt off, not just that day, the whole week. 5 days in a row. It was basically more than that. We came from Wisconsin. They drove all day to get there, switched cars around, and then we raced on Tuesday. So those guys do an amazing job. They work their butts off, and I'm so happy for them that they were able to win a big race like that. Kyle, CJ were helping us for the week. Bill's out there, he's ready to go, and we all had a plan together, how we were going to do it, what we were going to do, and they did a great job. We're out there on a racetrack, and Eldora's banking. There's grease all over the rear end, and the car fell off the jack stand. So we actually handled it very well. Everybody was very calm. Just pick the thing back up, put it on the jack stand, and get back to what we were doing, and that's exactly what they did. So definitely it was a little bit drama filled, gave the fans something to watch, but the team handled it very well. Didn't get too anxious, and didn't let it get to them. So but I think with that little bit, that little episode, some fuel poured out the top of the tank, and I don't know if they showed that on TV, but actually, when I got on the gas after the red, catch up to the pace truck, I wanted to see what the car would feel like. And when I got to the pace truck, because I caught up to him really fast, I slammed on the brakes, and the sparks from the brakes actually lit the tail tank on fire. So I was actually on fire for about half a lap, and was why I passed the pace truck right there and tried to put the fire out. And whether the speed of the car, the air put the fire out, we didn't learn until after the race that the fire extinguisher that is now mounted in the car was empty. So it did its job. I didn't actually, honestly know how they work, but it was empty. So whether the gas from that put the fire out or the air, a little bit of combination of both, but definitely drama filled, but we were able to hang on and get the win.
Holy cow, yeah. And I remember the fire on the car because they were talking about a little bit on the Flow Racing coverage, okay? You're hauling it off, you see the white flag. I read Jeremy Elliott's story and said you didn't pay attention to the flags, you didn't look at the lap counter, you didn't look at it, but you see the white flag. Ashley talked about lap 49 and a quarter. What happened down in turn one?
So a few times I had to peel off and either slide a lap car, run around the top of them. They didn't really slow down my momentum too much. I could kind of, as soon as I would get to them, it was almost, I could make a move right away. So they didn't kill any of my time. And I was able to get right back in the groove of, just pounding the top and making laps. But when I got to, I did obviously see the white flag. And instead of, I didn't know how big of a lead I had. I didn't know if somebody was close to me. So in that split second, I didn't feel like it was a great idea to drive. And there was also, it wasn't just one lap car, there's two lap cars, and they were both running the top. So I didn't want to drive across the middle of the racetrack and sit still and exit and give somebody a run, to pass me in 3 and 4. So I thought, well, I'll run the top, and if I have to dime in the corner, I should exit the corner a lot better than what I would if I just drove across the bottom. So I followed that lap car in there, and it took all the air off the wing, and I could feel the car getting tight as it was entering the corner, and it just kept getting tighter and tighter, and I had to kind of jam on the brakes, get the car to turn, and then drive it down across the racetrack. And I wasn't going to the top in 3 and 4, so I'm just going to play the conservative role, drive through the middle, and knew I had if somebody was close, they were going to have to pass me around the outside.
I love it. I love it. And, I love victory lane. Awesome moment. But I've got to ask, obviously, Bobby Allen, the patriarch of shark racing, the reason this is all happening, he said, you're going to get half because we all talk about it. You're the $1 million winner, right? But we all know that the driver doesn't essentially get the $1 million. But he said he's giving you $500,000. Is he going to hold true to that? And what's your first purchase?
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have any dumb things in mind. If somebody likes the funny answers or what but Uncle Sam likes his part, but it's so I'm sitting at a storage unit right now, and whether that happened either way, Summer and I sold our house, dreams of building our own shop, and Didn't know how we were going to do that. As we sold our house thinking, we'll work on that. We'll live in the motorhome for a while, and however it plays out, we'll just make it happen. So we can definitely get started on that now. That's the plan. We found some land that we want to buy, and we were trying to make that happen beforehand. And it's funny how that stuff works, because my aunt, who is my realtor, she was helping me with the whole process, and she was talking to me last week, and I was talking to the bank and how crazy interest rates and all that stuff are. And I'm like, man, I don't really want to do that. It's nuts right now. So I said, let's just talk about it next week and see how this week goes. And it's weird when you have feelings like that, and how you just feel like you have a great shot at winning a race like that. And it just all came together, and it all happened.
Holy cow. Yes, you're happy, but the realtor, your aunt, is really happy with that. Man, I'll tell you, that is that is awesome. Logan, hang in there with us. Everyone else, stick around. More with Logan Schuchart in just a moment. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway, when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Talking with Logan Schuchart on the Sage Fruit hotline here. Logan, can you take us into the mind? What do you think your grandfather's take on all of this is? Because he's the one 10 years ago that put all the doubters aside and said you couldn't do this, you couldn't do that. He's the one that did it. And yeah, while you're getting half of it, the race team's getting half of it. What has he said anything to you? What do you think his take in it is?
It's weird. I actually haven't got to sit down and talk to him yet. We've been so busy since Thursday. Our minds were focusing on trying to get back out the racetrack and, just keep being fast, go after Kings Royal. And then we drove home yesterday. I'm moving. He's busy doing stuff. So I haven't got to actually sit down and talk to him about, what we accomplished, how crazy that was and all that. But just being next to him in some interviews after the race, and just how proud he was. He came up to me after the race and, real quick, in victory lane, and just shook my hand, gave me a hug, told me how proud he was that, couldn't have drove a better race, or, just the whole night, how the team did everything the best they could, and just, just did an excellent job. So he's very proud, obviously, of how far we've come, and all the people involved. So many people that have been involved with this team and been a part of helping it build since the very beginning. A lot of them were there on Saturday night. A lot of them weren't, but there's a lot of proud people in victory lane. And I think that was one of the coolest things for me. We were going to race again on Friday, and I didn't even really drink after the races on Thursday. I didn't need to. My excitement and my celebration was looking around at all my friends, family, sponsors, and the happiness on their faces and how excited they were and what it meant to them. And that doesn't get any better to me. So just a really awesome feeling.
I couldn't agree more with you, Logan. I'm glad that you were able to kind of soak up that moment as well. And, I feel like we've kind of been on this journey with you. I remember when you first came on the show and you were hitting the Outlaw Tour, and you kind of talked about it in Victory Lane. And I remember you telling stories about how you guys were sharing hotel rooms and, having to divvy out shower schedules and trailer doors breaking going down the interstate, and all the crazy stories that you've shared with us over the years. But there was one thing that you said in Victory Lane, and you talked about, you felt like at points you guys didn't belong. And I'm sure many people would agree. Obviously, you've won the biggest race and now have your name etched in the history books as where you belong. But was there a moment in this entire journey that was like the lowest point for you that you can look back on and now say, we did it?
I think that, the first 2 years of running the Outlaws were the hardest. I think for me, that's when I really questioned myself. Financially, we didn't have a whole lot of what it took to run the Outlaws, but and the goal was always just to make it to the end of the year. But for me, racing go-karts as a kid, we always won races. As soon as we got in the sprint car at home, we won races. And then I went 2 years of running the Outlaws and feeling like I just got my butt kicked every night. And those guys are so good. They still are. There's so many good teams. And I feel like right now it's as competitive as ever. But it's so hard to win these races. It's so hard to win it on, a normal 10,000 to win night. But obviously there's some tracks that we go better at. But, we raced for 2 years and didn't win any races and, crashed a few times or just ran in the back, barely making races, barely getting by. And I think that was, when we won our first race at Cedar Lake, I remember, that was like the first time, like, oh man, okay, we're starting to figure this out. We're going to be able to do this. And then obviously the build up from there. And in the 2 years after that, we won a few races and then big name, sponsors, Bill's big part in, helping us off the track and on the track of bringing in people like Dryden and then the relationship and that we've grown with them and just how it's been a building block each year between people like C&D Rigging and NGK Spark Plugs. And now we have Federated on the car. So, Duramax now. So it's a building block of, each year of growing with the people around you to get to this point and, running second in every major event, Knoxville Nationals, the Kings Royal, the National Open, running second in every one of them, and knowing we're right there, but, we just got to make it happen. So it was worth running second in every one of those to be able to say that we won the biggest race and our winner's share in sprint car history is pretty amazing.
Logan, I want to build off from what you talked about, the level of competition on the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Can you even describe what this year has been like and how good you have to be every night rolling off the truck?
I mean, I've always felt, and we've always known that to win an outlaw race, you almost have to be perfect every time you hit the racetrack. Like, you got to go out, you got to qualify well. You're going to start up front in your heat race. You got to be able to get great starts, know the racetrack, hit your lines, and make very minimal mistakes. And, then it just almost becomes a little bit of a luck game. Where you start in the dash has a lot to do with it, because these guys are so competitive. They're so evenly matched. And then it's making all the correct moves in the A main. So there's about 8 to 10 cars that race with us on a nightly basis that are right in that category of, if they do everything perfect that night, they're going to win the race. And so it's starting 10th and winning, it's possible, but it's very tough. It's very rare nowadays with the equipment, the quality of drivers, the quality of mechanics, and equipment. So definitely race with the best in the business. I've heard Larson talk about it before about, it's just a different form of race. And I haven't really raced anything else, but I can't see how you would say that somebody in a different form of racing could just jump in these things and, compete right off the bat. It's not, they're definitely their own animal, and these guys are, top tier in what they do. And that's why when you're able to win, any race, any World of Outlaw race, it makes you feel like you did a heck of a job, because you're beating the best in the business.
And you did, and you certainly did that last week in the $1 Million race. Logan, we're going to let you turn the air conditioning. We a little behind the scenes here. They had to turn the air conditioning off to do the interview, and they're cooking in the car. We're going to let you turn the air conditioning back on and get back to moving duties. Thanks for joining us. Congratulations on the big win last week.
Hey, thanks, Steve. Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
There we go. Logan Schuchart joining us on the Sage Fruit Hotline. Stay with us, more in just a moment. The Outlaws are headed back to the Pacific Northwest. Join us for 3 action-packed nights of racing August 31st, September 1st and 2nd at Skagit Speedway when the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars return for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals. Kickoff for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals begins Wednesday, August 30th with a pre-race party, live band, Sage Fruit apple giveaways, and more. Then catch Donnie Schatz and the rest of the World of Outlaws as they take on Washington's best sprint car drivers Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights. Details at SkagitSpeedway.com. Welcome back. It is Wing Nation, presented by Sage Fruit. Ashley Stremme and Steve Post here. And boy, I'll tell you what, Logan Schuchart living the big life. Well, he was moving furniture from a storage unit after winning that $1 million race. I'd have had a moving company there, Ashley, if it were me.
I couldn't agree more, but it makes him show just how humble and human he is.
Yes, it is. That's for sure. Last week here on the program, we talked to Bud Kading, King of the West, the Howard Kading Classic out at Ocean Speedway in Watsonville. Love this one. Another guy that we just think the world of, Shane Golobic. He had finished second 3 times in the HK race. Finally got the monkey off his back, $6,900 to win race. Boy, there's something, and Logan talked about finishing second in big races. Boy, you finish second a few times in a big race, you start to wonder. But for Shane Golobic, no wondering anymore on the HK.
No, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of experience to make that. And when you're right there, all it takes is that little step. And finally, he's found it.
He certainly has, exactly. The race to double digits in 410 sprint car racing. I did not see this one coming. I know he's been running good, but the first driver in the country to get double digits, 10 wins in 410 racing. Ashley, he's from out there in your neck of the woods.
Yeah, 8 wins at Lincoln, 2 wins at Williams Grove. Freddie Raymer. It's hard to believe, Steve. That just goes to show you how competitive all of sprint car racing is, that we're almost in August and somebody's finally hitting double digits and winning. Yeah,
no doubt about it. So Freddie is off and rolling, so we'll see how he fares across the board the second half of the season, but first driver to double digits. Okay, World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars. Okay, we record this on Monday. Wednesday they were at BAPS. And this weekend, they're at Williams Grove. Ashley, first and foremost, when that Shark racing car rolls onto the racetrack, I'll bet you Pennsylvania Posse fans are going to go berserk.
I'm not going to bet you, Steve. I know they're going to. Obviously, $20,000 to win on Saturday. It'd be cool to see that happen again, to have Shark racing in Victory Lane. I know he wants one bad at Lincoln, but Williams Grove is it's its own animal as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. When we look at earlier this year, Brad Sweet won at Williams Grove. Last year, the winners at Williams Grove, Brett Marks won the Morgan Cup, Sweet won the Summer Nationals, and there was this guy, Lance DeWeese, won 3 times there last season. When the World of Outlaw NOS Energy Drink Sprint Cars wrap up at Williams Grove, there's a whole bunch of racing, but Ashley, High Limits is back next Tuesday night at Grandview. That's going to be a big one as well.
Yes, it is. $23,023 to win. It's the 6th race of the season for the High Limit Series. Some guy named Kyle Larson has won 3 of them. His streak is at Wayne County, Tri-City, and Eagle. And I know he does enjoy Grandview, so we'll see.
Yeah, Grandview's fun. If you can make it to Bechtelsville, Pennsylvania, Grandview is a fun place. And it's going to be interesting to see because there's some Pennsylvania Posse guys that are really, really good there. There's some all-star guys that are really, really good there. Yeah, Larson's good there as well. Rico's good there. Boy, I tell you what, I started myself down a rabbit hole, that's for sure. Ashley, it's going to be awesome. It is the month of money, and right now the focal point is up there in Pennsylvania. Not a better spot in the world to be watching sprint car racing, is there?
Well, as long as Mother Nature keeps her tail out of here on the weekends.
Well, there's that. There is that. Mother Nature, leave us alone. Don't get Mother Ashley Stremme mad at you. You got big problems. Hey, we appreciate Logan Schuchart for joining us here on the program. More important than all of that, though, thank you for joining us here this time on Wing Nation.